Good morning, Orchard Park Central School District, and welcome to the start of the 2021-22 school year. We are coming to you live from the high school auditorium, where we were hopeful that we would have all of you joining us. However, as the summer progressed and as we worked with the Erie County Department of Health and their guidance and requirements that came out over the last couple of weeks, we felt that this was the most responsible decision at this time in order to keep everyone healthy and safe as we work to keep the integrity of what we are here to do, teach kids face-to-face 5 days a week. So in keeping with our growth mindset, we're on the right track, but we're not there right yet. What I would ask everyone as we begin our morning and our school year is to stand and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all. To begin, I want to start with a few thank yous. I want to thank John Wolf, high school principal, Tom Zintek, one of our fantastic high school technology teachers, as well as Sarah Horning and Scott Roth from our technology department for their work and efforts to make this live streaming event possible today. Also, a big thank you to Mary Kay Overfield, Karen Oliveri, and Dr. Lisa Kruger in the curriculum office for organizing the Welcome Back breakfast treats this morning. Also, thank you to Cheryl Connors for all of her help with this presentation and the preparation for this morning. Thank you, Cheryl. As we begin the 21-22 school year, I also wanted to take a moment to thank all members of the Orchard Park community, our teachers, our SRPs, our administrators, as well as our Board of Education. Thank you for what you did for our students and for each other last year. Thank you for caring for our students as much as you do. Thank you for the energy, excitement, and compassion you bring to the classroom in our district every day. And thank you for being here today. Thank you. It is each and every one of you that makes Orchard Park such a special place. I wanted to share a little bit about our agenda for this morning. Over the course of the summer, we've welcomed many new administrators to our team. During this morning's welcome, you'll hear from two of our new team members, Dr. Dean Ramirez, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel and Pupil Services, and Mrs. Mincer Burness, Director of Special Education. You will also hear from Dr. Lisa Kruger, Mr. Jeff Petrus, and Mrs. Sarah Horning as they share welcoming remarks and updates from their respective departments for this coming school year. I also wanted to welcome approximately 50 new OPTA and SRP members to our district family. You are all part of a very special group of caring and compassionate professionals, and we are thankful to have you with us for the school year. I also wanted to welcome and thank our new administrators who are joining our district or who took on a new role with us this summer, in addition to Dean and Mincer. I'd like to welcome Dr. Paul Pietrotone as Director of Special Programs. I'd like to welcome Diana Negro, Principal of Ellicott Elementary, Kristen Gugdano as Assistant Head Bus Driver in the Transportation Department, Brandon Hafner as House 1 Principal in the high school. Welcome back, Brandon. And Bernadette Krumpick as our middle school assistant principal, joining Brandon and Aaron. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for making our team and district better. As we start this year, I think it's important for us to go back and visit our guiding principles that helped us really navigate the pandemic last year and that helped us plan for the start of the 21-22 school year. You know, I know many of us felt like the pandemic was over when we left last year. I know in my case, I was hopeful that that was the situation. But the reality is we're ending this school year somewhat impacted by COVID still. As we plan for the 21-22 school year, it was helpful for us to continue to revisit these guiding principles. Our guiding principles are really simple, but they're very important. First, we value and place the utmost importance on the health and safety of our students, staff, and community. This guiding principle helped us navigate some pretty challenging conversations and situations this summer, and it's good to go back to that guiding principle throughout as the hallmark of what we're here to do, keeping our adults and our students safe. Secondly, what we learned last year throughout the pandemic is that we cannot replicate what we do in a face-to-face environment 5 days a week, and we need our students with us 5 days a week. This is essential. Finally, as we planned for this year, knowing that we were going to have a few mitigation measures still in place, we wanted to make sure that as much of our comprehensive programming was brought back in a safe manner, which our students and our adults need. When we look at where we began at the start of last school year, we have come a long way, and much of that is due to each of you. Let's continue to take care of ourselves and each other. If you are not feeling well, please stay home. Wear your face covering while you're at work. Socially distance. And if you are not vaccinated, I encourage you to speak with your physician about getting the vaccine. All of these important mitigation measures and safety steps will allow us to hold on to our guiding principles. Dr. Ramirez will go into these mitigation steps in a bit more detail later this morning. So this year, as I mentioned, we're opening up this year with our program looking very similar to what we had pre-pandemic, with a few key mitigation pieces in place. Our kids are ready for this, and more importantly, they need it. This is obvious to me not only from a district perspective, but from the perspective of a dad. 2 weekends ago, we took our daughter Haley back for her junior year at Mercyhurst. For those of you who taught her, she will be 21 later this month. I know getting old stinks. I feel that way as I look at her and drop her off at college. But it's always bittersweet to say goodbye. But this year was a little bit different. There was a new sense of excitement from her and her classmates and the campus. And I think a lot of that had to do, and what I heard from her, is last year she was in a remote model along with many of her classmates. And they didn't have that college experience that they were looking forward to. And I know my sons, Adrian and Caden, who are sophomores here, they're feeling the same way. The excitement of school events, clubs, activities, and all of their friends together on day one feels great to get back to. And as one of my sons said, who was born 45, and even though he's 15, I'm jazzed to get back to school, Dad. This presents us with a great and exciting opportunity to make a difference in our students' lives more than ever. Before we move on to the next slide, I did want to give my, as I was reflecting on dropping my daughter off at Mercyhurst, my annual foodie update for the district. A new Lilac family favorite, if you've been down in the Erie, PA area, Lucky Louie's, amazing gourmet hot dog and sausage place. If you ever find yourself in the Erie, PA area, it's about 10 minutes from the main strip. I recommend the Don't Hassle the Hoff. It's a cheddar dog, sauerkraut, cheddar sauce, honey mustard on a salted pretzel bun. However, you will not go wrong with any of the menu items. So again, Lucky Louie's, Erie, PA, you won't go wrong. All right. As we look forward to this year, when you're looking forward, often you look back and reflect. And with this in mind, we've spent time this summer as an administrative team looking at what defines us as a district, especially as we continue to move through the pandemic. We ask ourselves what makes us great. And are the things that we believe that make us great really great for all kids? And this truly is the beginning of our work within diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. This has also allowed us to look at some of our systems in a way that forces us to ask ourselves hard questions. Are we as equitable, accessible, and inclusive as we think we are or that we want to be? This is the essence of DEI and the journey that we will continue to grow in this year. At this point, I would like to turn our morning over to Dr. Lisa Kruger, who will share how we will strive to ensure that all of our students and adults feel like they belong, are cared for, and have a voice in our school community through our district goals and long-range planning, our district comprehensive improvement plan. Welcome, Dr. Kruger.
Thank you, Mr. Lilac. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the start of another wonderful school year here in the Orchard Park Central School District. I'd like to begin with a few thank yous and acknowledgments. This summer has been an incredibly busy summer in the curriculum office and in many of our schools. And I'd like to thank specifically Michelle Bush, Missy Snesniak, Erin Grubka, and Brandon Path for all of their support to do amazing things for kids this summer. Our summer programming was more robust than it has ever been. We supported nearly 300 students with book clubs, academic programs, Quaker camp at the elementary level, and transition programs to welcome back our students that were fully remote for the entire school year last year. And that wouldn't have been possible without those key people that I mentioned and all of the teachers and support staff that supported those summer programs. So thank you very much to all of those individuals. As Mr. Lilick mentioned, we're looking ahead to launch our upcoming goals, which will be a 3-year plan. And we've previously worked under a comprehensive district education plan, otherwise known as a CDEP. We are transitioning and evolving to a district comprehensive improvement plan. And some of that has to do with indicators of our subgroup population, certain populations that are underperforming the general majority of our student population. From that, we embarked on a journey last year with stakeholder focus groups, and many of you participated in conversations facilitated by Dr. Stevenson. We had student surveys that helped give influence to this, and from that came these 4 priorities. So I share the 4 priorities of our DCEP plan with you this morning. The first priority is to establish a system to analyze subgroup-specific ELA and math data in order to provide research-based Tier 1 through 3 interventions to students. And we've begun that work already this summer with expanding our plans this year for universal screening of students to include mathematics screening through grade 5 and enhanced screening at the middle school level. Priority 2 is to establish a district-wide plan to assess and support the academic gaps due to the COVID-19 school closure, which will be key in applying universal screen and other assessment data to help fine-tune our plan for students and the interventions that we apply to students. Priority 3, establish a systematic approach to social-emotional learning to ensure the social-emotional needs of students, staff, and families are met. This fall, we have a school that will be piloting an SEL screening tool to help us give greater insight to our students. So if a student's struggling academically, is the root cause really an academic gap, or might the root cause be something that's based in the mental wellness of the child? So that's going to be an additional critical piece of data as we return to the school year. And then last, establish district-wide core beliefs related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we have begun over the course of the past year to year and a half learning in the area of DEI with presentations by Dr. Watts and other speakers that have come to help our education. We've started on that journey. We certainly have work ahead of us, and we'll be focused on establishing those core beliefs throughout this school year. Some things that we can look forward to, as Mr. Lilick said, we are trying to return to the comprehensive pre-pandemic programming that we offered students in as many ways as possible. So I'm excited to share with you this morning our plans that as much as we are safely able to do so, we intend at the elementary level to bring back field trips for students, before and after school activities, and our parent volunteers. Those things were all paused last year out of necessity, and we're going to safely and strategically try to bring some of those supports back for our students. New York State has allowed an extension of the free breakfast and free lunch program, and our district is participating in that. So all students, pre-K through 12, will again be eligible for free breakfast and free lunch in our schools. New in 21-22, I'm happy to highlight some amazing things that we're doing to benefit kids and families. We took advantage of increased grant funding for universal pre-kindergarten, and we have launched a full-day UPK class in each of our 4 elementary schools. So we look forward to having those little 4-year-olds running around our hallways and are so excited to offer this opportunity to families. We are also launching a kindergarten through 5th grade health and wellness course. This will be a once-weekly special. Of course, it's going to focus on physical health, as our traditional health program does, but this will also have an emphasis on supporting the social-emotional development of our students and their emotional well-being. Also, and strategically planned, we have class size reductions this year at kindergarten and 5th grade. We know that many of our kindergartners experienced a non-traditional preschool experience. Some parents chose not to send their child to preschool last year, or their preschool experience was just not a typical preschool experience. So we've got smaller class sizes at kindergarten and also at 5th grade. Fifth graders, of course, were fourth grade last year in a hybrid instructional model, and we felt it was important to bring those class sizes down to a smaller level to be able to individually meet students' needs. And we will be continuing the use of teaching assistants that we launched last school year to be able to provide an additional level of support to our students. At the middle school and high school, we also intend to return to as many pre-pandemic activities as much as we are safely able to do so, which includes clubs and activities. Our athletic program actually launched last week, and we had students on campus practicing in their respective sports. We intend to bring back field trips at the secondary level. The use of lockers, which was paused last year, as you know. Our students will be able to go to lockers in grades 6 through 12 while still maintaining at the high school level the staggered bell schedule. And we will be continuing the free breakfast and free lunch program at the secondary level, just as we are at the elementary level. I'm happy to highlight a few new items at the secondary level to provide enhanced supports to our students. We've launched academic learning labs at both our middle school and high school to provide additional academic support to students. And similarly to the strategic class size reductions that I mentioned earlier, we have class size reductions in ELA and mathematics at grade 9 to help support our freshmen as they transition into the high school. Our middle school has had a long-standing program called the SAS Academy, the Student Academic Success Academy, and that academy was a program that ended at the end of 8th grade. We are now extending that program and continuing that program to the 9th grade level, which will provide an additional layer of support for our students as they transition to our high school. And similarly to the elementary level, we intend to continue to use teaching assistants to provide added support for our students. I'd just like to note that over the past 18 months, my professional colleagues have demonstrated incredible flexibility, creativity, dedication, and an attitude of we will do whatever it takes to benefit kids and try to get kids in front of us face-to-face 5 days a week as much as possible. Our elementary, middle, and high school administrators became carpool managers last year, custodians became furniture placement coordinators, and our teachers and staff revolutionized their teaching and use of technology to ensure high-quality teaching and learning, and to ensure that that continued, even when we were forced to go remote for 12 days last school year. As Mr. Lillick said, it is fully our hope and intention to have our students in person 180 days this year. That is the ultimate goal. However, it's only responsible that we plan for the worst while we hope for the best. So we are encouraging all teachers to have a plan ready in the event that we need to go remote. I've linked in today's presentation, and this presentation will be shared with all of you. We've linked an Are You Ready to Go Remote or Go Virtual checklist. In that checklist, it's got hyperlinks, which have instructional videos, brief videos that are 2-3 minutes in length to ensure that your Google Classroom is ready to go. For our K-5 teachers to ensure that they have their virtual schedule ready to go, and lots of tips and strategies to help support us to better support our students in the event that we are forced to go remote. And I certainly hope that we don't come to that. I hope, like Mr. Lillick said, that we have our students in front of us for 180 days this school year. But nonetheless, we will be sharing this resource so that we can be prepared. It is now my absolute pleasure to introduce my colleague, Dr. Dean Ramirez. He joined us earlier this summer and has already proved to be an enhancement to our district and to our leadership team. So Dr. Dean Ramirez, welcome to the team.
Thank you, Dr. Kruger, and good morning, OP. It is so exciting not only to be here, but to start a brand new school year. As it is every year, new hopes, new beginnings, but this year is actually more exciting because we're starting in a full in-person model, not a hybrid model, not a full remote model, but a full in-person model. Move that microphone up a little bit. And that being said, I'm really excited to meeting all of you in this new role that I have. I've always loved the whole process of teaching and learning. And during the course of my career, I've been a teacher for 10 years, an administrator for 12, and now going into district office, I'm looking forward to meeting as many of you here at Orchard Park as I possibly can. As I was going through the list of employees here at OP, I was excited to see people that I've gone to college with, people that I've worked summer camps with. And I actually saw somebody who was a member of my girls' basketball team when I was at Maryvale High School as the varsity girls' basketball coach. Western New York is small, it's a close-knit community, but a very collaborative community, and I'm really, really excited to be here. To tell you a little bit more about myself, I was a middle school social studies teacher for 10 years. It's probably to this day the best job I ever had. There's nothing better than working with kids and teaching kids and developing them for the next levels. My administrative career has been 12 years now. I was a high school assistant principal at Maryvale, a middle school principal at Lewiston Porter, and I spent the last 4 years as high school principal at Iroquois. During that time, I completed a doctoral program at the University of Buffalo, where I focused on trust and leadership behaviors among administrators with the whole idea of making people better teachers, better adults, better educators for kids. Enabling an ideal work environment with highly effective teaching and learning. One major truth that I have always embraced is, unless you have highly effective teachers, highly effective adults that are working in the schools, you're not going to have great schools. It's all about you, the people. That's why I'm really excited about being part of this role as your assistant superintendent for personnel and people services. I have a wife who's also a science teacher. During the whole time last year, she was my gauge when it came to stress. When she had a meltdown, that was my indicator that the teachers in my building were going to have a meltdown. So she is my real true lifeline, and how I stay connected to teaching is with my wife, Melissa, who's a middle school science teacher. I have 4 great kids, Maddie 12, Molly 10, Duke 8, and Mark 5, who are ready to go to start school this upcoming school year. They just want to be in school and be with their friends and doing all the great things that teachers do for kids. Next, thank you. I'm going to review some key mitigation procedures with you. This past Monday, 2 days ago, you received a brand new updated employee safety handbook. Please review that at your earliest convenience. In fact, it's one of the mandated procedures, policies that you need to review by October 15th. Part of that is that face coverings while on school transportation and in all district buildings are mandatory, okay? But when you're outside, it's highly recommended. With social distancing cannot be maintained. But outside, they can come off, but we are asking you to maintain social distancing when you take your kids outside. Also, a major part when it comes to masks is the whole idea of mask breaks. And during the next 2 days, your building principals will review the whole process when it comes to mask breaks, when it comes to your classroom instruction. Daily health monitoring screening for students and adults, that is mandated by the Erie County Department of Health. This morning, you have received an email from the district that led you to a Google form to answer some questions. I'm going to go over that with you more in a moment. Also, parents are going to have to screen their child at home, making sure that they do not have any COVID symptoms. We need to make sure that everybody is safe coming into schools, healthy, safe, to make sure that our school environment is safe. And that also goes to any visitors that we may have coming into the building. They will be screened at the door at the start of the school, or when they enter the school building, and they will have to make sure that they do not have any COVID symptoms, Quarantine procedures. This is really important for everybody to understand because this guideline has changed multiple times over the last 18 to 20 months about what is actually a close contact. Right now, a close contact is if you are within 3 feet for accumulation of 15 minutes over a 24-hour time period. Think about that for a second. If you're within 3 feet for longer than 15 minutes over a 24-hour time period. If that is the case, you are a close contact. The next piece of all of this, though, is that if you are fully vaccinated, you will not have to quarantine. I'm going to go over that more in a moment, okay? Fully vaccinated close contacts, fully vaccinated individuals who are identified as close contacts do not need to quarantine, okay? But we always want you to monitor yourself for any type of COVID symptoms, okay? There are people that are receiving COVID, who are getting COVID, that are fully vaccinated. Their symptoms may not be as strong, but they still have COVID. So you need to be very careful and monitor yourself when it comes to COVID symptoms. Unvaccinated individuals, this is also very important to know. Within a 3 feet, same thing, within 3 feet, 15 minutes, within a 24-hour time period, you will have to quarantine, regardless if you are wearing a mask or not. Okay, so regardless if you're wearing a mask or not. The last point to make, if there are 2 or more positive cases in a classroom during a 10-day period, all unvaccinated individuals in the class will be quarantined, okay? Next slide, please. Self-health check. Came to me this morning. It was pre-populated with your ID number. If you need to know what your ID number is, it's on the back of your badge, okay? But it was pre-populated, and it asked me these 4 questions. Have you experienced symptoms of COVID-19? Is your temperature 100 degrees Fahrenheit or greater today? Have you tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 10 days? And have you been in contact with anyone confirmed or suspected of having COVID-19 in the past 10 days and you are unvaccinated? As I said to you earlier, you could be a close contact, but if you are fully vaccinated, you will not have to quarantine, okay? You answer those 4 questions, no, but if any of those 4 questions you answer yes and contact your school administrator. Contact your school administrator. One little a little hint of advice as you're receiving this, on your cell phone, you may even want to bookmark the link in your phone, and every morning as you're ready to go into your car or get ready to go, just click on that link. You don't have to go into your email if you bookmark it. As I said to you before, your ID number is pre-populated on your form. You check off the self-assessment and you're good to go for the day. Why are we doing this? We want to make sure that our schools are safe. We want to make sure that everybody's healthy. If you're not healthy, you're not learning. If you're not healthy, you're not teaching, okay? And if we're able to do this together in cooperation with our parents, we can ensure what Mr. Lillick said earlier, that we can go continuous through the entire school year without going to full remote or without going into a hybrid model. That's the main goal, okay? That's the main goal. Last but not least, you have your annual district acknowledgements, the policies. They were emailed to you by Nanette earlier this week. You have until October 15th to review those policies, with one more policy that was recently added on, which was the employee handbook. There's not too many, so make sure that you go over that, okay, in detail. If you have any questions, go to your building administrator. You can always email my office, and we can have a fantastic school year, being together, working together. Everything is better when we're with each other, being together. Like I said, it's an absolute honor, privilege to be here. I'm so excited to work with all of you, making the rounds in the buildings. Please make a point to come and see me if you run into me in the hallway, and say hello and get as many names and faces as possible that I can. Have a fantastic school year. And now it's my privilege for Mr. Petrus to come on up. Come on up, Mr. Petrus.
Now the shorter guy has to lower the mic. I'd like to start off by welcoming our staff back for the school year, and especially welcoming the 50 plus new staff members we have for this upcoming school year. Hopefully everybody had a great summer and you're coming back rested and ready to go. I wanted to give everyone an update on our long-term facilities needs plan, and also the upcoming capital project that we're going to have up for a vote in May of 2022. After a long pause due to the COVID pandemic since March of 2020, we did have our facilities committee on pause up until April of 21 this past spring. Since April, we've been meeting monthly to redevelop and continue our long-range planning for our facilities needs and upcoming capital projects. We try to always have a 10-year plan in place, similar to what we do with our local budget, and having a 3 to 4 year plan in place. With our capital project and our facilities needs, we do like to have a 10-year plan in place, and so we can keep moving forward with that and planning our budget so we have level debt and no spikes or large increases in taxes to accommodate those renovations. So we're finally, with this upcoming plan, going to be able to address some program needs, which has been kind of on the back burner because we've had so many health, safety, and building envelope needs over the last 20 years. But now, over the next 10 years, we are planning 3 large capital projects that are going to total up to $200 million. So we're really entering into a new era where we can do some long-range planning and really accomplish some program needs while staying within our current tax levy situation. Some of the program needs we're looking at over the next few projects. At the high school, we're looking at a pool addition and additional gym space. Turf field replacement. The turf field at the high school is going on about 14 years old right now. It's got a 15-year life expectancy, so we do need to replace that soon. We have the new bleachers, press box and concession stand we're looking at, music room additions and renovations, cafeteria improvements, and art room renovations. That's in our long-range plan for high school. At the middle school, also music classroom additions and renovations, new special education rooms, upgraded science classrooms, general classroom upgrades, cafeteria improvements, increased access and improvement to traffic flow and parking around the building. As you know, that's pretty tight, and especially at arrival and dismissal in the morning. So we're going to try to improve that traffic flow around the building, and upgrading some of the athletic fields and tennis courts that are shared between the middle school and South Davis campus. For our elementary program needs, additional classroom space at some or possibly all of the elementary buildings, ADA accessible playgrounds at each building, and we're already starting with the Ellicott playground renovations this year, new STEAM rooms at each of the buildings, additional parking at Eggert, Ellicott, and South Davis, which is much needed, kitchen renovations at all the buildings, general classroom upgrades, PA system upgrades in all buildings, and at Eggert and Ellicott, we'd like to long range move the offices up closer to the front of the building to help with security and safety at those 2 buildings. South Davis and Wyndham are already in that situation with the offices up front, so we'd like to do something similar at Eggert and Ellicott. Health and safety and building envelope needs. The roofs at the high school, middle school, Eggert, Ellicott, and South Davis all still have sections of roofs that need to be replaced. Wyndham, as of last summer, is completely done and all up to date right now in the roof area. For windows, our high school is in pretty good shape, but we still do need some new windows in sections of the middle school, Eggert, Ellicott, South Davis, and Wyndham. At the middle school, we'd also like to replace our original steam heat system with a hot water system. That's long overdue there. And then also ADA compliant bathrooms at all buildings. Community benefits. We are really trying to look to get the community more involved with our buildings and have some accessibility, more accessibility, especially at the high school. So we are looking, once we have a new high school pool and weight room facility, to look at having some opportunities for the community to greater use those spaces and really benefit from some of these projects besides our school program and community ed program. So the upcoming project vote, tied with the plan right now with the facilities committee is to have a project presented to the board in January of 22 with board approval in February of 22, and then the community vote on it as a separate proposition with our May budget vote. We're looking at a $100 million capital project that would keep level taxes and not have any new impact on our budget or on the community. So that is our short-term plan, and then as I mentioned earlier, probably about 2 more projects over the next 10 years besides that upcoming May vote. So that is our long-range facilities needs. I'd like to thank the facilities team, facilities committee members who have been very active the last few months, and we will be meeting twice a month moving forward to finalize this plan so we are ready for that presentation in January to the board. So at this point, I'd like to welcome one of our new team members, Mrs. Minzer-Burness, and welcome her to our special ed department and our district.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I wanted to welcome everyone back to a new start of the school year. I wanted to welcome all the new staff members joining Orchard Park. This is a really good place to be. I wanted to start by thanking people that made me feel part of this team. Thank you to the superintendent, to the administrative team, to every teacher and related service provider, to building grounds, technology, every support staff that I've worked with recently. I've been here for 2 months, and it feels like I've been here forever. So I really just feel part of the family and really excited to be here. A little about me. I started my career as a special education teacher in a Lowell charter school in Buffalo. I found that position to be super rewarding, that I decided to move on to an administrative position, into a special education director and an assistant director of special education in both Lackawanna and Frontier. I live in Lancaster with my husband Todd, my daughter Alexis, who's 13, going into 8th grade, and my son Ethan, who's 10, he's going into 5th grade. They are super excited to go to school and be there 5 days a week. So I'm hoping we can keep this going this year. Few updates from the special education office, not too many, but our office has moved into the main campus. Thank you to Building Ground, every single person who helped us move and made the project fun, from paint colors to moving our stuff and just being there to accommodate all of us. I really appreciate it, and you guys are still there for us. And just the technology department has been also amazing. My office staff, my office clerks have done everything they can to get us running. So thank you to all of the office clerks. We have a new teacher on special assignment position in the district office. That is going to be Katie. So we're very excited to have her in the district office. And with that, welcome back. I'm very excited to see you in the buildings this week. Please make sure that you stop me and you introduce yourself again. I have met so many people, so I'm still working on the process of knowing everyone, just like Dean. So I would like to introduce Mrs. Sarah Horning, our Director of Technology. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another school year that nobody was expecting. Before I begin, I want to thank the members of the technology department who have really been working tirelessly over the summer to prepare for the start of another unusual school year. Over the course of the last year and a half, our building techs have been flexible and responsive to the shifts that are happening constantly. They're constantly responding to the new ways that we're teaching and learning, and they truly, all summer, just work so hard to make sure that your classrooms are back to normal, that spaces that were not classrooms before are equipped with the technology that you need to do your job. And so I just want to take a moment to thank all of the building techs. I also want to thank the Buildings and Grounds Department. Many people don't know that they work very closely with our department in the summer, moving thousands of Chromebooks and Chromebook carts and assisting us as we're cleaning all of them. Finally, I want to thank Mike Piacco and Pam Shannon, who are really the wizards of Power School Oz. as well as our tech coaches, technology teachers, and computer teachers who work directly with students and teachers on making technology meaningful for students in Orchard Park, and are inspiring a generation of digital leaders. Thank you for going above and beyond over the last 18 months. So that was the fun part of what I wanted to share today, was reflecting on how much all of you do and support technology in the district. But I do have a few updates to share as we start a new school year. The first is a new workstation policy that some of you may have already experienced this morning. If you've come in during the month of August, you may have noticed that your computers lock automatically after 15 minutes of inactivity. And although I understand how inconvenient that can be, I wanted to share a little bit about the why for this new policy and ask for your cooperation as you adjust to it. As we work to improve our data privacy and security practices, we have implemented this new policy to prevent student and staff information from being accessible by unauthorized users. And those unauthorized users are often users right in our school, and sadly are often our students. In the summer, I received a report from the New York State Education's Chief Privacy Officer with an overview of all data privacy violations that have been reported to the state during the previous school year. This summer, there were several reports of students changing their own grades in PowerSchool. The students accessed this information by using a teacher's username and password that was stuck on a Post-it note on the teacher's desk, and also by accessing an unattended administrator's workstation and changing the student's information. There were also, sadly, reports of students attempting to take down their school's network by accessing unlocked computers. We understand that security practices often feel inconvenient, but it's something that I often say, that nothing will be more inconvenient than the damage control after a cybersecurity incident, identity theft, or God forbid, our network being impacted by a malicious attack. So I thank you for your cooperation with that new policy, and like anything, after a little bit of time, it's something we will get used to. As a department, we've been testing that policy a little bit with some common situations, such as watching a YouTube video or being inactive in a Google Meet, and we're happy to report that your computer will not lock during a YouTube video. If you're playing something for your students and you're watching it together, it will also not fall asleep during a Google Meet if you're not engaged in the Google Meet. Also on the topic of cybersecurity, our upcoming annual password reset period is now open. So you must reset your password by October 1st, which can be done in the OP staff bookmarks, or it can be done right on your computer. More information will be coming to you via email. Again, I know it's inconvenient and something we all dread, myself included, but it is critical in protecting our network. And then finally, I wanted to just share and thank you for your patience with our fulfilling orders of technology equipment over the last 18 months has continued to be a challenge, particularly with hardware, but also with software. I'm sure many of you have experienced a delay in shipping from something that you've ordered for your personal life. So you can only imagine the magnitude of that delay when you're trying to order hundreds or thousands of devices, or when you're trying to work with software companies that are understaffed and spread very thin by the pandemic. So I just wanted to thank you for your patience and encourage you to have a little bit of grace with the techs in your building if something is not going as planned. Finally, later this week, you'll receive the Back to School Technology Handbook, which is really just an overview of our annual expectations with technology, frequently asked questions, and items that should be helpful to you as you prepare for the students to arrive next week. So thank you, and at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Dave Lillick.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you to Lisa, Dean, Jeff, and Mincer for your time this morning as well. Before we close, I just wanted to follow up on a couple key pieces. As Dr. Kruger shared earlier, we will share the presentation with everyone, so you'll have access to the hyperlinks. Mincer also mentioned the shift in the special education department coming over to the main campus. The prior special education building will become a district professional development center and large meeting space over the next few months. And that's really exciting for us, not only for collaboration as an administrative team, but also to have a dedicated learning and meeting space for the district. And we'll update the Orchard Park community as that development continues. Finally, I want to just say a couple more thank yous. Thank you to our building principals, our directors, Joe and Kristen in the bus garage. Routing our buses to get kids out is very important. And then also to B&G for all of their work. And thank you to all of our teachers and our SRPs. I wish everyone a great start to the school year. Enjoy these awesome moments over the next few days with your colleagues, as well as welcoming our students to the buildings. And most importantly, take care of yourself, each other, and our students, and see everyone soon. Thank you.